already, Z.
Oh.
Mike, oh, there we go. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello!
Howdy.
All right. Wow. Okay, so we're going to start a little bit late. But that's all right. We'll get a little storytelling done tonight. And, wow. Time to play. All right, so then let's just, I wasn't able to get the nameplates up in time, and so what I'm going to do is, wow, we'll just start with Beth. Why don't you introduce yourself, your character name, tell us just a little bit about your character, just a couple of sentences, some quirky characteristic, and we'll go down the list.
Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Beth. I am the Dungeon Master for the Land of Dark Dreams campaign setting. Amongst others, I am a professional Dungeon Master on Roll20, and I am also a male to female transgender. I will be playing Fade, the Shadarkai fighter elf. She is a refugee of the Shadowfell, escaping into Faerun to find her own destiny and escape the clutches of the goddesses that are trying to have her soul bound to them.
Awesome. And so let's go to Dolly. How about we start with you? Dolly? How about I got that pronunciation right?
It is Dali.
Ah, awesome.
Dali, I'm Travis. I'm none of those things in professional DM. I'm just a dude here. I am playing Dali, the halfling ranger, who escaped the cold harshness of the north and left his clan, and is going south for just to have a better life and hoping for something a little bit less. What's the word I'm looking for? Rough. We'll go with rough for now.
Rough. That'll work. And how about Andreas?
Andreas, yes.
Andreas.
My name is Riley. I will be playing Andreas, the tiefling sorcerer. He has come from the mountains in the north, has forced to go on the run because he is running from the law, as all good criminals do. And he's currently, dodging out of the way of the law and trying to keep himself alive, and has stumbled into where we are.
Excellent. And how about Ramsey?
Hi, I'm Reese. I'll be playing Ramsey, the happy-go-lucky human rogue. Yeah, he's a private eye from Waterdeep. He bases himself out the dock ward, and he's currently traveling around trying to find the serial murderer.
I
Exciting.
hope it's not me that you're looking for.
Oh no.
Oh no. Twists and turns already. Bairn.
Yeah, greetings everybody. I'm Lake. I'm also a professional DM on Roll20, and I will be playing Bairn Coalheart, a human adoptee of a Dwarven clan, battle cleric, and devotee of Clangeddon Silverbeard. If you've never heard of him before, you will after this.
Outstanding. Okay, so I think we got some technical issues. I apologize to everybody that we're starting late tonight, but that's all right. Tonight's kind of our origin story, and so everything's going to be just fine. I'm glad that for those of you who are have joined us and are watching, thank you. For those of you who catch us on YouTube later, thank you for watching. I'm assuming everything sounds good. I haven't heard any complaints in chat, so that's looking good. I want to thank everybody for joining us on our newly launched channel. We are still feeling out and beating some of the cobwebs out of the rafters, and as is exemplified tonight. Tonight is the premiere of our second campaign, Princes of the Apocalypse. I also wanted to thank our talented players. We just heard from them, and thank you guys again. And now let's see if we can't find anything about these Princes of the Apocalypse. So we're just going to jump right into it. Let me do this. And we're going to start with a ranger and a fighter. And our camera zooms in on the evening. The sun has set. It's that bit of light where your eyes can't hardly see. It's like it's kind of light, kind of dark, but you can't really see more than 20 or 30 feet in front of you. For those of us with normal human pale vision like I have. And this is the camp of a group of mercenary soldiers. And they've been traveling, trying to find work where they can, as sellswords for a lord here, a noble there. Times got tough. And when times get tough, sometimes they have to resort to things that they might not normally do. And this was a choice that was made by the leader of the mercenaries, a man by the name of Maximus Budarian. A strong man, stubborn man, led a mercenary group, a band of sellswords very well, but when things got lean, he got mean. They took to raiding villages, raiding travelers. In this group was a halfling who had joined up with the mercenaries, seeking a way out, a better life, some adventure, some change, some skills. And that halfling started to see a change in his fellow fighters and the people that he was associated with. During their raiding, they captured an elf, a female elf. They kept her bound, they beat her, they tortured her, they knew she was different from some of the local elves, used her as a toy. On this particular night, Bally, I think you decided you've had enough. And as such, you're in your mercenary camp. The sun has set. Some of the men have started drinking. Some of the men have decided to bed down. You'll be up early for the next run on the travel. And you look over to that pole, that tree, with the elf bound and gagged, tucked over on the edge of the camp, away from the fire. What do you do?
Dolly, he looks around and sees that things have gotten progressively worse. instead of hopefully getting better. So he's tired and he's just bothered. So he's gathered a couple of his things in secret. And then he sees that elven woman that's been a thorn in their side almost brilliantly, and decides that this one's strong enough to at least survive. And so he'll begin to slowly creep over there and attempt to sneakily get close to her without arousing too much suspicion.
What kind of armor do you wear?
I'm wearing very plain leather armor. Nothing too fancy, usually dark, and essentially whatever he can get. He's got his leather armor, he's got his bow on his back, his long bow, a couple of arrows, and he's got his 2 short swords on his side. And if there's any free horses, he'll begin to like bring them towards the edge. If there's any free horses, if they're all guarded, then they're not worth his time.
All right, first give me, let's check your deception.
My deception.
Or, not deception, stealth is what I meant to say.
Oh, well, that would have been amazing. Still not amazing. 14.
All right, well, you don't draw too much attention. You've been with the group. You're a halfling. They're used to seeing you. What was the first thing you were going to check?
Is there any horses that I can snag so he can make a quick getaway?
There is one horse that you think you can probably get away with pretty easily.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and just like grab that one. His little self will grab that one. And
they're all kind of tied together, but this one's at the fringes. The knot's not quite as secure as some of the rest. You can probably get it away pretty quick without stirring up the herd, as it were.
Yeah, I'll just quickly cut the rope if possible and try to like feed it some oats to like keep it quiet and not to make any noise. Then after he does that, he'll just begin to circle around and go closer towards the elf.
And our elf. What does he see? This poor tortured soul bound to a tree. Other than that.
A very pale-skinned elf, almost as if there was absent pigment to her skin. Not quite the albino look that one might expect. There's kind of a ashy gray hue to it, almost as if you're looking at the lightest shade of gray you could find on volcanic ash, blended in with pure black hair and eyes that, when compared to the average elf, are much wider and almost pupilless, just a very dark look. And you can make out her expression as she's watching, gagged, just this figure approaching. Very still, very quiet, but very observant.
Before Dolly gets too close, about 30 feet away, he'll use his ability, silent speech, to talk to her telepathically. Don't make a move, don't make a sound leaving. You may say yes if you want to leave, or you can die here. The choice is yours.
She'll stare at him for a very long moment, almost to the point of making it a little bit awkward, or she'll simply nod her head.
Good. And then slowly we'll walk up to her nonchalantly and begin to undo her hands first.
Make me a dexterity check.
Okay. Do you want a sleight of hands or just straight dexterity?
Do you have any advantage to sleight of hand?
No, it's still a straight roll either way.
Yeah, either one.
That's an 8.
So the knot's giving you a little trouble.
This comes from the elf.
Can he just take his blade and just cut it off instead of fiddling with the knot?
Yep. Make me another stealth check.
Okay. 23.
No problem. The dagger comes out like you've done this just a few times. And the knot goes away.
So I'll go ahead and tuck that in. And then, since her hands are unbound, he will let her do the rest. Your hands are free. Get yourself out and get on quietly. And he'll jump on the horse.
Which she will do. She says nothing as she ungags her, having to undo any other restraints she might have on her person.
Your ankles are tied.
I will untie them.
Make me a stealth check. Okay. Nobody sees you moving at all. You slip
Off to a good start.
slip the rope off the ankles with ease, and then are you going to mount the horse with the halfling?
Dolly, did your character have any other weapons on his person?
He's got 2 short swords and a longbow.
Okay. She will take one of your short swords, or try to.
You definitely put a hand on the hilt to not let you pull it out, and then speak again with your mind. What are you doing?
If we are fleeing, then I will have the ability to defend myself. I will not rely on one of you.
Well, if you have to fight us, then we are at the losing. Upon, and if anything were to come, then I may give you your sword.
Fine. Let's go. Quickly.
Then as soon as she gets on, he's gonna begin to try to slowly leave. But if there's eyes, then he'll begin to progressively rush away.
Right. Both of you make me one final stealth roll. Dolly, in control of the horse. You get it moving just quickly enough around a couple of obstacles and onto a path that it can make softer footfalls. You almost lose the elf. A couple of dodges around some trees. But silently enough, you escape the mercenary group. For now, they don't know you're missing. Or at least, you don't think they know you're missing.
So, with that, he'll continue southward, just away from the group or away from everything else. He'll actually give a quick eye over his shoulder, and now speaking aloud, no need for the telepathy. You are right to defend yourself if need be.
She'll nod. Why?
Roads are dangerous,
No.
unsafe.
Why did you rescue me?
He goes back to focusing ahead, but still speaks. You're actually strong, and therefore you can defend yourself. Why would I free someone who will just die 5 minutes later?
She'll snort. You're not wrong. Where are we going?
Away from here. You need to buy things for yourself. I wasn't going to risk getting your stuff back.
They have my sword.
Swords are cheaper than limbs.
She'll raise an eyebrow at that. I will reclaim it soon.
Do what you must, and then we'll just continue southward. Unless she speaks, he'll be quiet and just focus.
She's very quiet.
So you guys become road companions for a short while. And as you travel on, we pick up and move to something different. And where we land is already in the town of Red Larch. A bed. And in that bed is Baron. Another cruel past that Baron had to live with. Death. Acceptance. Death. And as the ranger and the fighter make their way through the night, Baron, the cleric, lies in bed. And while he sleeps, he struggles with the emotions of his past. Starts to sweat a little, toss and turn. And you feel that pain inside, that, you know, in your heart when you've lost something and you know it's not coming back. It's something that you've dealt with off and on through different means and different methods for different reasons over a lifetime. And as you lay there in that bed, a voice, and it's not, there's some lucidity to the dream now. The visions and the memories have started to go away, and you start to feel your own presence. However, you're not opening your eyes, you're not getting up, you're just lying there in your own sweat. And this voice in the back of your head, "Are you ready?"
As he hears the voice, his mind swimming in the placid state of dreams, kind of tries to tilt his consciousness around, looking for the source of it. Ready for what?
Good lad. Things that are coming.
If something's coming, I'll be ready for it. It's not a concern. I've been through worse before.
And as soon as you say that, it's as if every bad emotion that you've ever had to deal with, ever had to feel, floods through you. And it just lasts a couple seconds, but it's almost torturous. If it wasn't for your innate stoutness, a tear might just squeeze out the corner of your eye. It'll be a lot worse than that, boy.
He actually attempts to catch his breath in that moment. Even when in this situation, breath is not something that comes. And says, "Then it'll come, and I'll deal with it. You learn one way or the other."
And with that, you fall peacefully back to sleep with visions of landscapes. It's like if there was ever a time that a dwarf would take flight and glide across ocean sides and plains and mountains, all different matters of earth, all different matters of your world, water, volcanoes. But it doesn't scare you. It inspires you. And as you drift back to sleep, and the fighter and the ranger continue their travel into the night to make distance from the mercenary camp, we find another campfire. This one in between towns. A lonely campfire with one Andreas at the side of it. And as the heavens look down on you, Andreas, what do they see you doing?
I'm just setting up a bedroll for the night, making sure that I'm all ready to go, and doing one final check of the area, just a brief walk around, to ensure that there's no one watching me, no one following. Check for any tracks to see if there's been anything in the area that could be following me.
Roll for investigation.
Investigation. That is a 15.
Everything looks secure.
Okay. I'll head back to the campfire then and just sit down for the night.
And so what do we see as far as a physical appearance when we are looking at you there, poking your fire?
He is a blue-skinned tiefling, relatively tall, a bit over 6 foot, with very stark grey eyes and pitch black hair that goes down to about his shoulder. He's wearing dark clothes, like black shirt and pants and things, but with a bright red coat that goes over the top that he's currently taken off and is using as a blanket to keep himself warm alongside the fire. And he's got his horns go from about the top of his forehead there and curl back to around the back of his head.
Do you like to cook anything special over the fire?
If I can get access to it, I like a good rabbit every once in a while. Have a bit of hare, but it's whatever I can find whilst on my journeys. I've learnt to be very malleable with what I get access to and what I actually get to eat.
So as you sit there by the fire, enjoying simple things and the rabbit that you were lucky enough to find yourself just a little while ago, working on dinner, thinking about the things that you've been through in your life. Again, you've also had to deal with hardships and deaths, loss. All of you loss a running theme. But you've had some struggles in your life, and such that some of them weren't almost, I don't even really know how to describe it, unfortunate in the sense that it was brought on by just simple communication issues. And now you've got two groups of people chasing after you, moving from town to town, and you find yourself in between the town now. Make me a perception check.
Check. Three.
Dolly and Fade. It's probably been actually a few days or so. I'm not really exactly sure where the mercenary camp was from the time you find yourself at this midpoint in between settlements, towns, civilization. And up ahead, you notice a campfire.
I'm gonna assume it's late and cold.
It's cool enough for a fire. It's nothing drastic.
Valley will kind of turn back again with a half smirk. Did I need to make more friends?
She will just avert her eyes from the fire. Your call.
Yeah, you're still about, it's probably 100 feet or so up ahead through the forest. You can just kind of see the little flickers of the light up ahead.
He'll approach slowly and cautiously, see how many people there, and see if they wear any insignias on them.
Though she will mutter, "Give me a sword."
If they give you a sword, then that means we're hostile. If one of us isn't armed, then that means we're not hostile.
She will take in a breath and just... If I die, I am killing you first.
It'd be kind of hard to kill me after you're dead, but I'll hold you to it. Kind of gives like a little chuckle to himself and will continue to approach cautiously.
She'll just smile darkly as if she knows some hidden secret he doesn't.
All right, so make me a stealth check.
Just me or the both of us? Nailed it, Elf.
Let's roll them both.
Oof.
Look, Fate is a character of extremes. Some of these are great, some of these are great on the other end.
Yeah.
Andreas, you hear some footsteps.
I will jump up, leaving the coat on the ground, like not even bothering with it, and I'll raise a hand ready to start casting probably Firebolt, but I won't actually cast it just yet. I'll just be ready to go. Who goes there?
At these, and he'll approach hands up. He's clearly armed, though, with two short swords and a longbow on his back, but he also approaches with a woman who has no arms on her. One fire is a nice place to stay at night.
Frozen video, Kurt.
Are we back?
Yep, it's going.
Okay.
Cool.
So as...
He'll,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
he'll slightly lower his hand and just say, "Who do you work for?"
Wow, that's a very deep question, especially after He goes to answer, but then pauses and like kind of rubs a hand through his beard that he has.
And
I
with,
work.
with that pause, we get a little dramatic hang as the camera watches him rub his beard. Because it was a similar question, because I'd almost forgot Ramsey. Our rogue, who is on his way to Waterdeep. Or not Waterdeep, on his way to Red Larch. Because it was a moment similar to this when he was, not that long ago, standing on a dockside pier amongst the docks and the wharf in Waterdeep as his boss, Johnny, had a man inside the building who had some information on a killer that was killing sailors in Waterdeep, a group of people that Ramsey had befriended, worked for, fed information to. And as he watches while the local boss meted out some justice and sought his information, Ramsey, you see the man approach. Lots of dark. You don't see his face. He's cloaked. You see flashes of red. You know that underneath that cloak, it's bright crimson. And he approaches you, and even though he gets up close, somehow the shadows still work their magic for him. And you can't make out his face. Who do you work for?
That's a strange question to be asking, friend. I'm just out looking at the sky.
Aye. So you don't know nothing about that man in there screaming? No, they're doing a good job at trying to keep it muffled, but I hear it. About that. Go ahead.
Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Turns and glances towards exactly where he knows Johnny is. Does he see anything? Any flickers in the light? Any sharp movement?
Nah, they've got the shutters on the windows closed, so you can kind of see the lantern light from the inside, and its natural flicker, the shadows of activity, but nothing out of the ordinary.
I don't see anything, friend. They, just people having a late night, I guess.
Ah, that'll make this easy then. You see him reach to that spot that you know oh so well. And out comes a coin purse. It's got a little bit of weight to it. You can tell by looking. And he flicks it into the air. Like, right at your nose. But you're quick. And money doesn't get by, especially if it's coming right at your nose. You snatch it. It's got as much as you thought it did. Take a hike, beat it. I'll look at nothing for a while.
Ramsey squints and walks past him, walks around the next corner, looking over his shoulder, seeing what
The cloaked man just leans, watches you walk.
try and slip into the shadows around the corner, trying to keep an eye in the general vicinity.
He stands there and watches for a minute. When you duck behind, make me a stealth check. Gives the old look. Then with a quick flick, you watch as a little bit of flash of shadow, and around you notice a brief light as a door opens and then closes. You hear movement. You hear metal, briefly, sharply, and quick. And then nothing. It's just a few moments. A brief flash of light as a lantern flares and then goes out. Nothing but cold silence.
Hamza slowly staying in the shadows and away from any direct skylight or lantern light, slowly make his way towards the building.
So you creep along the dock, trying to be as quiet as you can. And every time you step on one of those old boards and those pins creak, makes your heart jump. And you get around to the front of the building, and the door is cracked open. It's not closed all the way. And you start to push it open, and you get just a little bit of the moonlight. And all you can tell is things don't look right, but it's too dark to see much else.
Goes to see if there's any lantern or any source that you can light in here to shed some light.
Yeah, you've been in here before. You know where Johnny's workbench or table or desk or whatever the platform is that he typically sits behind or at during his work day. And you go over there, and as you expected, the lantern is there. And when you light it up, you let it flare up and look around. You see the person in the chair, and he doesn't look good. And his throat's been slit. And the front of his body is just coated in red. And you kind of expected that, I suppose. And as you lift the lantern up and start to look around, you see Bob and Finn and then there's Johnny. Only it looks as though they've been cut 1,000 times. Just crisscross, all over. So much so that sometimes in squares or diamond-shaped chunks, it's fallen out. And there's just blood everywhere.
The coin pouch that he was still holding in his hand, moving the coins around between his fingers, just drops to the floor, just makes a clunk. He's a pale man, but just all blood seems to go from his face. As he rushes over to John's body, check for life.
You don't know if that little sound of air was a last gasp or just a reflex.
Video froze again.
How are we doing now?
Alright, it's mobile. You're good.
Cool. I think it just weirds out on me from time to time. I'm still a couple little band-aids floating around in here. And,
It's okay, I can monitor Twitch chat. I've got the ability to see 2 screens at once.
so
Yeah, same with me.
that breath sound, as you rush, Johnny, you rush, and you grab him and, you know, take him in to see what the fuck. And you realize his eyes have been not cut out, stabbed, mutilated.
Just grasping in his arms, just looks at him, just holding him, knowing that this was because of his own greed that this happened. He got given a simple job just to watch. It's betrayed the trust. Now, just looking around the room just to see if anything's here, just anything of what happened or who did this. See if there's anything you can find.
Make a perception roll. That 26 threw me off. All right, give me an investigation just for shits and giggles. What you discern as you look around and fight back the guilt is this. While your friends were killed fast, they weren't killed nicely. And the man that's bound to the chair, while he did take a beating, he still has his eyes. And his death was as simple as a slit throat. And you know that's not Johnny's style. He might have ended up beating him to death, but he wouldn't just slit his throat. And as you
Head
can
over to the bottom. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Where do you go?
Over, leaning Johnny against his desk. Head over to the body of the bound victim. And let's look him over. Just see if there's anything left. Just if he has anything, if there's anything to give away why this was done.
And this is where your perception roll kicks in. As you sort of decipher through the bumps and bruises, you realize you've seen this man before. You've seen him with Johnny. You've seen him about town. You've seen him in different places where people of that sort of occupation go. You can't think of his name right off the top of your head, but it starts, some moment of clarity starts to happen. And as you start to think about who is this guy, we zoom all the way back to the three people who are facing off over the campfire.
After a long moment of contemplation, I work for no one. I work for myself.
That is enough for me. You can stay the night if you so wish. Getting warmth in these parts is difficult enough. I don't wish for others to have to find their own.
Thank you. A nod of just like, got it, and then he'll just sit in one of the broken logs or a rock or something. Keep himself warm.
Like that.
You say you work for no one.
So, I was just going to say, I was interjecting silence for the
Yeah.
moment. No, I like that. The little halfling plops down then. It's like,
Yeah.
Here we go. Sorry, continue.
Gets nice and toasty.
You say you work for no one. Did you leave, or did you always work for yourself?
I'm recently working for myself. And what is she doing, the elf? Is she just standing there? Is she getting close to the fire?
What's Fade up to?
She's watching. She doesn't get particularly close to the fire, averts her eye from it. The cold-ish air does not seem to bother her particularly. She just seems to be observing the two, having that debate of whether or not she should strike up on her own or just stay close for now. But she does not say anything, just carefully watching, staring very awkwardly. Does not seem to have much in the way of social skills.
Saved her for her strength. What about you? You work for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. There
Good.
is.
What do you do?
You could say I'm a savior. And he stops and thinks for a moment, and a breaker of chains.
Dolly nods. Clearly confusion in his eyes, not understanding what he means, but doesn't push it any further.
And what of your companion? She willing to join us? And he calls that last bit out to Faye.
She'll look to the halfling. Just quizzically looking before she'll finally speak. Two breakers of chains at the same campfire. Why don't you take a few steps forward?
Dolly just like looks to the ground and kind of shakes his head with a smile, but not making any comment on the notion, making any comment of her statement. Do you happen to have something to eat? I hate to ask, but it's not for me, it's her. She hasn't eaten a little bit.
You're in. Well, I just finished cooking up this rabbit, and I have a couple of rations if that's more to start.
Are you offering her the rabbit?
Yes, offering at least part of the rabbit. He still likes his specialties, so he won't give all of it over, but he'll cut off a chunk and offer it up.
She'll take it and eat the shit out of it. just in that very chomp, 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 chomp. By the time surprised you still have fingers how quickly she bit that thing down. Either giving the impression that she hasn't eaten in a very long time, several days at least, but seems to really enjoy the taste, or at least on the outward appearance.
He'll cut off another couple of chunks, leave some for himself, and hand over some more for you.
She will take them, and she will not say thank you.
Thank you.
Just eats.
Dolly goes ahead and he's gonna toss her his what's it called, water skin, which he's drinking a good portion of it. So, and he tosses her and whatever is remaining for her to have a drink.
She'll take the water skin. She'll give it a kind of tilts her head back. No wine.
You think I couldn't afford the wine?
And you can afford to steal from a mercenary company. You must have something of value. But she will take a sip full of it.
A mercenary company, you say?
He just kind of looks to her and like shakes his head, not saying a word. And then he'll look back to the teacher.
She has a wry grin to her face.
I never got your name.
Andreas.
What is it? Dolly. I don't know her name. He just points to her.
Fade.
No.
Fate. Thank you for the fire. And I'll go ahead and just like continue to toast up.
Where are we?
You.
Oh,
sorry.
She's asking.
I don't actually know. I was
Okay.
I'm unfamiliar with this place. Is there a settlement nearby?
Did you say you
We are
don't know?
between towns, but
She is not familiar with this location.
I
was
would
asking.
assume.
Sorry.
I would assume Andreas at least knows of some of the near town.
Yeah, you'll make Red Larch in the morning.
We are nearing on Red Lunch. That is perhaps the nearest settlement from here.
She'll nod at that.
Did Dolly ever get his water skin back?
Yes, she did hand it back.
Okay.
She
Take it back.
backwashed it all over the place.
Take it back. Ties it back to his things.
So let's jump back to Baron for a moment. Baron, this bed that you had your dream in, when you recently arrived in Red Larch just a couple of days ago, I'm assuming you probably would have found yourself a place at the inn, or is that not his style?
He would have found someplace cheap but livable.
Right. Luckily, Red Larch is only big enough to have about one decent place there. And I've been telling myself the name of that place all day long, and now it jumps right off the Sweeney's Sword is the name of it. It's a nice place. It's not too expensive. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive. It's right in the middle of the road.
It fits the criteria.
Right. And so morning comes, and what's a day like for you in this new place?
Gets up out of the bed. First thing he checks is if anything is missing from the night. Likely not. He doesn't expect it. Putting on armor. Even in town, you put on armor. Dechinking any of the chainmail. Make sure the rivets aren't overlapping. very fastidious with his equipment. You have to be if you want it to last. And then it's dredging downstairs, breakfast, and seeing what is happening in town.
So when you get downstairs, you run into the proprietor of the Swinging Sword, Kilissa. It's a female human. You've been here a day or two, we'll say, and you've had a chance to meet a couple of the people, and so you're familiar. I'm not quite sure how chatty you are, but as you come down the stairs, thinking about breakfast and smelling the bacon, you see her tidying up.
He'll make his way closer to the counter. Morning. Breakfast is ready?
Oh, morning, yeah. I've got bacon and eggs, biscuits.
I'll take a plate. And the ale if you still got it.
Certainly, certainly. Yes, sir. She bounces off. Very professional-like, with a bit of speed. And you find yourself at table, and we go briefly back to Ramsey. Now, Ramsey, you've had some time to process the event that happened. You were able to ask the right questions. You got a name, you got another name, and then you got another name. And then you found yourself in Red Larch. And you arrive in Red Larch, and it is relatively early in the morning. The sun has probably just started to crest the horizon. I'm assuming as a rogue you typically travel at night, but you've landed in this small town where you expect to gather some information from some of the information that you've already gathered. And you come across the Swinging Sword. It's a big 3-story stone inn, crowned by a steep slate roof, and it has a few chimneys. The signboard juts out over the door, hanging from chains. It's a 10-foot long, curved wooden scimitar, emblazoned with the inn's name in red paint on both sides. And there's an inn yard with stables and outbuildings that lie behind the building.
Okay. Ramsey will start to approach, but he'll also be looking to see if he did go in. Is there any exits? Anywhere that you could get quick out of the bar?
Yeah, as you are taking a look over the building, you notice that there is a door on the side. And if you kind of skirt around the side and peek around the back, when you look behind the back, you see a man cooking over a big giant open fire. He's got like a grate set up over this kind of haphazard pit, and he's got some cast iron pans with some bacon going, and he's got some biscuits cooking over here. As much as you can cook biscuits, it looks like they're going to be a little bit not so brown on the top and quite a bit of brown on the bottom. But yeah, he seems to be sweating and struggling and trying to maintain multiple things over just a basic open pit. And then there's a door that leads back into the building from where he's at on the backside as well.
Okay. Ramsey would approach the gentleman cooking. Just not startle him, make his presence known as he's walking up. Make sure like he gets vision of him.
Right. So it's a really big guy, probably 6 foot, almost 6.5 feet tall, 250, almost 300 pounds. Just sleeveless shirt, sweat all through it, stained, and big red muscled arms. Looks like hair's been burnt off of most of it, and you can approach him without startling. He looks up and just kind of wipes one of those big arms across his forehead and is like, morning.
Morning, friend.
They're serving breakfast on the inside if you want some.
Okay. Are you the owner of this establishment?
No, I just cook here.
Who's cook here? So you don't see the denizens that come in and out here very often, I would?
Just about everybody knows everybody around here.
Okay. Just a quick question. Have you noticed anybody strange coming through here recently? Somebody suspicious looking?
Okay, so when you say the word strange, he just kind of gets this look like, well, yeah, right now I'm dealing with something kind of strange. Strange? Well, yeah, I mean, there's been lots of crazy shit going on around here lately, man, but, I got bacon burning. Why don't you go inside, have yourself some breakfast. Let me see if I can get somebody to talk to you.
I'd appreciate that. I flick him a gold coin and I walk inside.
He struggles to not catch it, and then bends down to pick it up out of the dirt.
Yeah, so I'll head inside the establishment.
Looks like a relatively nice place. A big open common room. A couple different floors of rooms. The cheap sleeps on the very top, and where our cleric stays. However, there's not a whole lot of people in here. As a matter of fact, you see one lady run off to the back where the food is, and there is one person sitting at a table. And describe what Ramsey sees.
So sitting at the table is a human, just over 6 foot tall, though he looks like he's about half as wide as that. Kind of a mountain of a man in that regard. Wearing a blue hauberk, clearly chainmail sticking out from the undersides and exposed points. No equipment on him, just appears to be sitting at the table, leaning over it. He does have something hanging from his neck. It looks like a pendant, amulet of some kind. Emblazoned on the front of that is what looks like 2 hand axes, each gilded or emblazoned by silver, crossed over each other.
Okay.
And what does he see?
He sees a very lean man. Not much muscle to the first glance. He's wrapped in a green cloak, but under that you see the glimpse of very well crafted leather armor, almost blazing everywhere, but all his joints seem to be free for access of movement. He's got medium hair length going down to about his shoulder of brown flowing hair, and a well-groomed goatee. But his smile stands out above everything. It's just almost like you can tell that it's forced and it's fake, but it seems off-putting at first glance. And start to approach the table, sit down with the gentleman sat at his table.
As you sit down, Baron will look up, kind of acknowledging the new presence. You gonna ask for that seat, or you just gonna take it?
Ah, friend.
It's about
Just
that
had a-
time that you get interrupted, and Kilisa comes back from the back, and she's actually carrying 2 plates of food. And as she comes back in, it looks like I got lucky, and brings and sets them both down, and looks to you, Baron, and says, "Don't be rude," and puts both of the plates down on the plate, and asks a man to sit alone in an empty inn. And she just points to the chair and then rushes off back to where the food was.
He scoffs a little bit, but he doesn't say anything else.
I was just thinking of asking a few questions if you have the time. I can make it worth your while.
He will pull his plate in front of him, move, take a bite. Suppose that'd depend on the questions, wouldn't it?
They're simple enough. How long have you been here?
Little over a day.
Have you noticed anything strange while you've been here? Anybody acting suspicious? Any
Stranger
rumors
than
of...
someone coming up to me and asking me a bunch of questions at breakfast?
I just class that as friendly. Where I come from, people rejoice in conversation.
Could have bought me a
Conversation
drink
makes the
first.
world. I can buy you as many drinks as you want today, as long as you answer my questions.
He'll nod and gesture forward.
Okay. Is the waitress still up?
Yeah, she comes back in just a couple moments. She went right out the back. As a matter of fact, she comes back in and throws a plate down at the table and sits right with you guys.
Okay. Do you mind, once you've finished eating your food yourself, could you get us 2 more drinks?
Oh, no problem. I get them right now if you want. She, all right, she just wipes herself off and gets up and goes and gets you ales.
Yeah, ale's fine. So, you've not seen anything suspicious? Maybe a man in a crimson cloak?
Have I seen anything like that in my brief time in town?
No men in crimson cloaks.
Town may be red large, but doesn't sound like their color. Can't think of anything I've seen like that. This individual do something wrong, yeah?
Calissa chimes in at this point. Weird. I'll tell you about weird. Did you notice the sun wasn't shining this morning? Just all kind of hazy and foggy out. Well, it's been like that for over 2 weeks. Sometimes you can kind of see the sun going across the sky if it's a really good day, but it's just hazy. They can't even call it fog. It's not even down on the ground, but you go outside, you watch, you pay attention to me today, you watch. Anywhere in this valley, you look up at the sky, you won't see the sun. It'll be bright and light, brighter than a rainy day, unless it's a rainy day. But no sun. You watch. Go out there at noontime. She goes back to chowing her eggs.
I'll keep it in mind.
Strange. But not what I've been looking for. Seems like another dead end. Might have to ask around. But yeah, this man is wanted. Seems to have quite a large bounty on this end, if that's the kind of thing. Could always use an extra pair of hands.
Someone wanted, you say? She steps up, or doesn't step up, she kind of pipes up. She's interested in the wanted man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, lots of people have been passing through lately. I'm not sure what that's all about, but a little more than usual over the last few months, I'd say. Look, I got 2 in here today, and it's only Tuesday.
Where have they been heading, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Said, where have they been heading, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, see, a lot of them come in, and we think they're getting jobs over at the quarries. The quarries are always opening and closing, and there's been mining and lots of activity in the ground over there for years and years and years. And there's always somebody opening it up, trying to start them up again, mine the copper out of there, or a silver is where they got rich off of, but I don't know if there's any silver left out there. But, they got marble. They've been getting the marble out of there, and all that's been great. And so you're thinking these people are down there, working in the mines, they're getting jobs, but they come through, and you never see them again. Then you don't ever hear about them passing on through or meeting somebody coming from the other direction. It's like they just go down the road, and then somewhere down the road they disappear.
Yeah, that is strange.
Sure, they're not just heading up
Well-
the Silvery Moon.
What was that about Silvery Moon?
He just asked, are you sure they're not heading up to Silvery Moon?
Well, you think that. Maybe a couple of them actually do. But, then we get people coming from Silvery Moon who stop in, and we go, oh, did you see that really ugly guy with the big ears? He was on his way up that direction. And they go, no, I didn't see no ugly guy with big ears. So you gotta think, where'd the ugly guy with the big ears go?
I'm sure I don't know.
And so we're gonna zoom away from your breakfast for a moment as you guys talk about weird haze and big ears and over your ale and eggs. And we come to a little camp with a few people huddled around the remains of the fire. Oh, I'm assuming somebody probably stood watch. I suppose I should ask those sorts of questions and maybe kept the fire going. But it's a little harder to wake up this morning because you don't get that nice, crisp, bright sun coming up over the edge. It's kind of hazy out. Might rain today.
Fade will probably start lightly prodding everybody up. Z will notice, the halfling will notice
Halfling will notice what?
your short sword.
She didn't hide it.
She has it, it's on her hip.
Yeah. He just looks up. Why do you have my sword?
You were asleep and didn't need it. But she will toss it back to him.
Takes it. Fair enough, I suppose. First thing we do is get you a bloody sword. Stop stealing mine.
Andreas will sit up slightly and just watch this exchange going on and just kind of chuckle to him. You two are new traveling partners.
So to speak.
Yep, seems about right.
Oh, I will help the pair of you get to Red Larch, and then it's up to you where you wish to go. He'll start packing up his bedroll.
Sounds agreeable to me. Thank you for
She's
your
very
hospitality.
squinty. Does not like the daylight, apparently, very much.
I was about to say, Dali doesn't put it together, so he just like he sees you squinting and is just like, what is wrong with you?
Where I'm from, the sun does not usually shine.
And where are you from? I haven't seen too many granite-colored elves.
A long way away.
Ominous. Fair enough. He'll
Forgive
also
me.
continue to pack his
I
stuff.
don't know you. I don't know any of you.
Fair enough. I would not share such information with complete strangers either, so...
Fade, you've dealt with this trying to find the right word, ability, or your night vision, and then it impairs you during the day. Have you developed any sort of like physical habits of squinting, shielding, or have you like picked up any sort of blindfolds or sunglass type items, done anything like that? How do you compensate?
Looking a lot like Brock from Pokemon, mostly.
Just
Gotcha.
perpetually squinting.
Perpetually squinting. No, she has not learned about hats yet.
You could blindfold me with a cat collar. Okay, well, I was just curious.
No, she's freshly arrived.
Gotcha. So you're still realizing that this kind of sucks during the day. Do you typically stay awake at night?
She is more active at night, yes.
Okay.
If she still has to sleep, she will trance, but she does that during the twilight or morning or the more dawn hours.
Oh, right. That's right. You only need 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, does anybody have any morning habits that they do at the camp? Are you guys eager to pick up and head on down the road?
Andreas will pack up very quickly. He's used to stay for the night and then quickly get out so that he can stay out people's sights, and so he'll be very quickly ready to go and waiting for the other.
Dali's probably a little longer. He checks his weapons and then checks each one of his arrows to make sure they're all still nice tipped and not broken or damaged. The feathers are still good. Then he checks his bow and then checks his armor. He's very
Do you have any
meticulous,
tobacco?
making sure everything's good.
Either of you? Any tobacco?
What? Tobacco? Not on me, no.
You're at lodge. How far until the next town?
Just a couple of hours. We should be making before midday.
Then let's go.
We'll head.
You know, she's very bossy, very elfy.
Yeah.
Classic elf.
Hashtag cat racism.
My way or the highway.
The Dali would probably just be used to taking point and just looking around and making sure nothing's falling, because that's what he usually did with his unit. He was mostly a scout, like a horse rider. So
She makes a mental note. I probably ought to invest in a hood if I'm going to be traveling.
You do get a little bit of relief today because you don't get a full-on sun. However, it is light enough to cause discomfort.
It's like walking around with your eyes dilated.
Right. And so you guys travel on down the road, and unless anybody feels the urge to pick up any particular conversation that they feel that they want to stir up with their new companions, does Andreas, do you have I'm going to give you the opportunity to just give me a yes or a no here. Do you have a horse?
Yes. I would have grabbed a horse at some point.
Very good. So you guys hit the road. 2 horses. The halfling and the elf, I still assume, are doubling up. And you, here for flavor, since we've gotten ourselves this far, I'll move you guys on roll 20 so you can at least get some look at what the town looks like from above.
The real question, who's
Yeah.
the little spoon and who's the big spoon on the horse?
I'm
Dali.
driving the bloody horse, so it's my horse.
Okay, but who's the big spoon and who's the little spoon? Because that can...
Clip that, please.
I love that you use the term driving the horse.
Yes, absolutely. I'm driving the horse. But yeah. Dolly would have one question for their new friend. You travel alone. That seems very dangerous.
Yeah, it's almost like random mercenary groups could pick you up off the side of the road and start beating you.
That would be unfortunate if it were to happen.
She said accusingly.
I've learnt to live on my own. I don't need the help from others.
Oh, he kind of like glances over his shoulder. Doesn't need help from anyone.
Yes, well, when the people that claim to help me do what they did to me, I learned to keep to myself.
No. And what was done to you?
That's a story for another.
Perhaps over a drink. Dolly would just like do a quick glance to see if he has any scars on him. He's not gonna like lift up his sleeves or anything like that, but then a quick glance does he have any scars on like his eyes, his neck, his hands?
There's no visible scars on the area that would be uncovered that you can see.
Continues to ride. Double checks his short sword every like 20 minutes. His elves behind him can steal it at any point in time, so he's just like, short sword's good.
They're actually sharpened a little bit.
Sorry, he doesn't make a comment, but he nods.
Steals your swords and then maintains them. That's nice.
It's the least she can do.
So, the new road companions. You breach the town, and I'm going to say it's probably going to be getting just about the time. Well, here, actually, I should back up. For those of fellas that were already in Red Larch, I'm assuming you probably got up pretty early.
Yes.
I'm just from the bio. Seems like an early riser type of guy. So you guys had your breakfast. You had your conversation with the crazy inn owner. What were you hoping to get out of that breakfast as far as information goes? I'm gonna kind of fast forward just through your mid-morning for a minute, or I'll let you guys take it and see what you guys do with your mid-morning.
If he was still in, if Ramsey was still in the inn, he would have just been asking questions about like pretty much everything he asked already about any suspicious people coming through town. He already got told the information about that, so.
Yeah, and some more information that Keylissa is she'll mention off a couple of names as well, and I will get you a list of names and drop that in your journal for you.
Awesome.
So that you can start your investigation wholeheartedly to get you some real leads. But yeah, she did say, you might stop by like Mother Yolanda's boarding house over there. She's been in and out of business. I don't know what she's got going on because she had some crazy stuff happening, and she mentions a couple other places and a couple other names in town. Go see this guy. He may know something. He was talking about this, that, or the other thing. So you do get some leads. And Baron, what was your plans for the morning? You're in this new town. You've been traveling from town to town, settling in, I'm assuming maybe doing odd jobs or whatever little adventure you can get yourself on.
He's been making his way bit by bit, just getting a general feel for the towns as he travels through them, learning what the people are like, learning what work is available. If he can get a job smithing, he works on that. But this morning, considering that he's met someone who's asking around, He would have inquired a little bit more about the work that Ramsey was looking after, and if it seemed that he was legitimate about hunting down this individual, and he got the feeling that this was something that the individual deserved, he would have offered to lend his help in that.
Right. And so one of the places that you were sent to was to the Tantor Smithy, and you stopped by when you got into town, but he was out fishing. He usually takes his Mondays off, and so he wasn't there yesterday when you got in. But you head back over to the smithy, and it's a male human, ugly, fat guy, but he's got like arms that are like tree trunks, obviously from slinging this hammer, but it just doesn't look like he shies away from the dinner table at all. And so his name is Eldris, and he greets you at the blacksmith, and offers you freelance work, I suppose. If I run across, somebody comes and gives me something big I need to work on, I might have an extra hand. Ask you where you're staying.
Staying over at the Swankin Sword. You don't need to worry about the quality. I was trained by Clan Forgeheart. I know how to do it.
Yeah, any dwarf that says he can swing a hammer, I'm believing it.
He looks a little concerned by that because he is clearly a human, but will acknowledge it as a compliment regardless.
Yeah, and you see he's got, there's some swords that look, of medium quality, a couple of them hanging around. It looks as though he probably doesn't sell a whole lot of swords, or, so make it, but there's different plates for different armors and stuff, for repairs, reinforcing of various types of armors, tools of all shapes and sizes, in various contraptions and hangers along the walls, as well as a big forge and anvils, obviously. I'm assuming you both went together, as the innkeeper also mentioned.
Yeah, Ramsey would have started grilling him pretty much instantly through walking through the door. Very abrasive kind of person. So, I've been told that you might be able to help me.
Oh yeah? What you need?
Do you meet a lot of people traveling through town?
Well, yeah, I see him going by. He's got one of those open-faced, regular type of smiths that you would think, roof and 3 walls, but the front end is all open to the street. So yeah, I see him coming and going, and they come in to get things repaired, or I gotta shoe the horse, or,
Have you by chance noticed somebody with either a crimson cloak or very sharp blades?
A crimson cloak, very sharp blades. And he leans back, and he's giving it his all. No, I can't say that I have.
So, you've not noticed anybody strange coming
Well,
through town?
yeah, everybody's a little strange. Lots of people coming through here lately, disappearing. Well, they say they're disappearing. I don't follow up on them, so I can't really say, but, that's what I hear. And I think they're all just living down at the quarry, probably buried deep in those silver mines. You get some guy starts getting a lot of silver, I wouldn't come out of the ground.
This is the second time somebody's mentioned these quarries. Is this the only business around here, really? Big business? Not self-owned?
It's the big business, you know. There's farms, the regular stuff, but no, the quarry is it's what made the town.
Okay. Thanks for your time. You'll pass him.
Yeah, no problem.
So-
Hey, it used to be really sunny around here, so don't worry about the gray. It should go away just about any day now. And he waves his big fat hand at you. And after your conversation with him, you're heading back out to the center of town. Is when you do notice something that strikes you as strange compared to what you've seen, other than the folk that live here, which seem a little bit odd on their own and don't do a whole lot of walking about, meaning there's not a whole lot of pedestrian traffic. And you do notice that, however, riding into town is 2 horses, and there's a halfling and an elf sitting on one of them, and a tiefling sitting on the other.
Half like a tiefling and an elf walk into a town.
Yes.
Are they riding past us on the main roads? Like, which direction are they coming from?
I think we're approaching from the north, going south.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Ramsey will whistle him down.
Andreas will slow down a little bit.
Dolly raises an eyebrow. Friend of yours?
Never met him, but
How about you, Fate?
I don't have any friends in this town.
So close.
Hello,
Slow-
friends.
Slow down.
Yeah.
what business do you have
getting-
with us?
Business? I'm offering you an opportunity to make some free money.
Some free money, you say?
Yes.
And by what means would that be occurring?
Just a conversation.
Andreas will think for a second and hop down from the horse. I'll start conversing then.
Okay. Where have you come from, if you don't mind me asking?
The north.
North, eh?
Yeah.
Have you by chance seen anybody suspicious on your travels coming down?
The awkwardly pale elf just kind of looks away.
It depends on your definition of strange.
He looks directly at your horns.
Now we're frozen again.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm fiddling here.
So, maybe somebody in a red cloak, crimson.
You mean like this one? And he'll flick the red coat a little bit.
His eyes squint. Does he seem to have the same stature as the person I've met before?
This is the tiefling.
Yeah.
How tall are you, tiefling?
6 foot.
Yeah. Let me see. What type of profile do your horns give off?
What do you mean?
Like, the figure he saw in the night was a cloaked. Are your horns like tight to your head? Could you get away with a big cloak and still kind of
Yeah.
obscure your horns?
Yeah, they're curled down along the frame of his head, essentially. So yes, a hood
Hey, Kurt, they have no
could
video
potentially
anymore.
cover.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, if you think back to that night, the where did it go? Sorry, I'm trying to do a couple of things at once here.
You go for
The
break.
hood. Do what? Oh yeah, I'm like right at the end. So, yeah, I'm just like, God damn it. All right. So what? It's quite possible that you might. You're not going to know because of the hood. It might. He might have been. I mean, it's about the right size, but he's got horns, and you can't really remember if you remember that sort of feature from the hood, because it was kind of this big, shadowy sort of situation.
Where have you come from?
To the north.
Where? His eyes are squinting at you now, intensely. His posture's changed as well.
From the Star Mountains.
When was the last time you was in water?
Yeah.
Hey.
Uh-oh. Now sound's cutting out. Uh-oh. Discord's going crazy. Hang on, I think it's coming back. Oh, wait a minute. What did Discord do?
I think we lost Kurt. We did lose Kurt.
I
Yeah,
think you saw it.
I got lag bombed.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
something crazy happened. I think I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think since he was hosting when he got dropped, it dropped the quality of the call.
Wow. Oh, we were on a roll, man. On a roll. All right. Okay. Where were we? Sorry, I kind of lost focus there for a couple minutes at the end.
Ramsey was questioning me.
So, when was the last time you was in water?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone that far south. I keep to the north more so.
Can
I
tell
would like
if
to
he's
insight check him while he's doing this.
Yes, let's roll something.
Go ahead.
After some tech issue, we got to roll a die, right?
Role playing in my role playing game? I don't think so.
It's a toss-up. Uh-oh. There we go.
There we go.
I would say that there is an equal amount of weariness or wariness happening at this particular moment.
See anybody on the road going north? Traveling away from the city, going the other way.
As you guys were coming in from the north, just as you sort of left the wooded area and you were coming into the hills and such that are down in this big valley between the mountains, you did see the quarries. The road kind of skirts the edge of them, and you saw in the hills lots of worked hills and torn earth and holes. And while you didn't really see any people activity, maybe a little black figure out there, movement or something, maybe a little wisp of some sort of camp smoke from a prospector or something perhaps. But you did see those sorts of things as you were coming in, but there was really no other road traffic on the way out.
You seem like you're hiding something, friend.
Well, you'll
I'm
have to
hiding
forgive
many
us when
things.
you'll have to forgive us when a complete stranger walks up and asks our intentions and places we've been. Perhaps you should clarify your intentions.
I clarify my intentions straight away. That's asking for a conversation, and that's willing to compensate for it.
And I'm asking why.
Maybe I'm a friendly person. Maybe I just wanted to chat. I'm lonely.
The Baron
Inside
looks on
check
Baron's
that.
face, even says that he doesn't believe that. And he's sitting next to the guy.
The look on Fade's face says she doesn't even have to roll insight to know that's bullshit. But she'll roll it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a complete lie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get ahead of yourselves. He's just looking for somebody, and your friend there almost fit the description.
He was with me all last night. Camping by the side of a road, and then sleeping. He went nowhere. Does
Okay,
that answer your question enough?
kind of.
Good. Now,
Look in.
I believe you owe us payment?
I'll flick a gold coin in the direction of the tiefling.
He'll catch it and quickly pocket it.
As he lifts his arms and raises his cloak, do I see any daggers on him?
Any daggers? Yes, there are two daggers to his side.
Okay. Where are you heading, if you don't mind me asking? It can be treacherous around here.
I'm just heading anywhere that isn't the Star Mount.
I could maybe use some extra help. I've already got this big fellow with me, but always helps in numbers. And the bounty is pretty high for the person I'm trying to find.
It gives me something to do. I'll tag along with you, I guess, and prove that it's not me that you're looking for.
What about you, feisty elf?
I need a weapon first.
He'll throw you a short sword.
She'll take it. Just ching! It'll have to do until I can find something better. Just strap it into her belt. She gives it a very judging look.
Instead of like medium quality, you probably got it on a sale.
Mediocre. Mediocre!
Let me just see if I can downgrade that blade you just got.
It's on -1. There's a blacksmith behind him, or her, behind the people we're talking to, right? Because they just got out of the blacksmith.
Yeah, I mean, they walk down the street just a little bit. Let me locate the. But yeah, they're all right about there in the center of town. So, where'd you go?
I was just curious. We don't have the gold for it anyway, because we got nothing. Just out of curiosity's sake, since Dolly didn't say anything, I'm pretty sure Dolly knows a ton of people with crimson cloaks, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you've seen your fair share of crimson-cloaked people.
I was just gonna say because of the mercenaries group. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, Dolly didn't answer, but I was just curious in the character.
So when you traveled down the little road coming from the Smith, and you got back to the edge of the main road where you saw the people coming in from the north, you've got the Smith is just a short ways behind you, and the inn is kind of across the street, and you see the innkeeper out on the front porch. Scraping out a pan into a pot or something, doing some menial type of cleaning. And as you're having this conversation, you hear her scream. And as you all pull your attention away from your growing distrust of each other, you look over towards the inn and you see a horse that seems to have a body like attached. Someone has not been able to get their foot out of the stirrup, and they're just being dragged along, hanging from the horse. And as you go to look closer, it's been shot full of holes, crossbow bolts, several of them.
Well, that's a real drag.
And with that, that's it. I love it. The perfect cliffhanger to end tonight's episode on that line.
I see yet again I am not amongst like-minded individuals who do not approve of puns. Every time. Every darn time.
I love it. I love it. But yes, we're going to leave on that little cliffhanger because it seems as though Discord has decided to start revolting again. They've felt that we've had our fill. Rotten bastards. So, for everybody who came back and stuck with this, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it so much. We're trying to get this thing off the ground, and we know that there's a ton of places you can go and watch and get your tabletop actual play fill. So we're glad that you're giving us a chance, and we've got lots of great content still coming. So let's go around the board, and I'll say your character name. Give us your name again real quick, and what you hope to get out of the next episode. So let's start with Dolly.
Curses. Name is Z for now. Travis. I just looking for a good time, enjoying an interesting story. That's all. Get in some shenanigans with Dolly. Probably torture that elf a little bit more and see what happens. I meant jokingly, by the way. Now that I thought about it, I meant jokingly, not like actually. Like
Too
the
soon?
Yeah, it's like
Too
wait a
soon?
minute, shoot, wrong word.
Playing fast and loose there at the beginning of this, how the things have gone,
Oh yeah.
there's nothing stopping us from just killing each other right now, and
I was
one person
about to
already
say,
looks like somebody who murdered its other guy's best friend, so...
Yeah. We're just gonna have a TPK we're gonna have inter battles between the
Self-induced
team
peak
before we get to
TPK.
2 episodes.
Just the most unfortunate get-together of parties of all time.
This is like a quit while you're ahead situation. Andreas.
Name's Riley. I'm actually just looking forward to being a player for once. I DM a lot of games, so it's good to get the chance to be a player and just focus on one character rather than an entire universe. So it'll be fun.
Outstanding. Let's jump over to Ramsey.
Hey, Reese. All I'm really going by at the minute. Yeah, and I'm just looking forward to solving my good old 1960s murder mystery.
Nice, nice. And Baron, my mysterious cleric.
Yes, hello, I'm Lake, playing Baron. I look forward to, now that we're all together, I'm curious to see how this group is going to get along. Because some of us are sneaky, some of us are standoffish, and some of us are just plain surly, and that's always going to make for a good story.
Definitely.
I'll tell you now, I don't like any of you.
Get along.
Good fun.
Get along. Making a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Outstanding. And then that leaves us with Beth.
Hi everybody, I'm Beth. I was playing Fade. I am greatly looking forward to seeing how this combination of nuclear chemicals can manage to get along. Probably just as well as the miniseries of Chernobyl that I just got done watching.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing sponsored content now?
Yeah.
3.6, not great, not terrible.
A quick review. Yeah, while America stands around, I can't believe the government lies to their people like that. That's crazy. Anyways, awesome. I want to thank you guys again for playing tonight. I had a great time. It was a rough start, but we finally got there. For all of you who came to watch, thanks again for the support. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, we have episode 1 of Greyhawk City, Shadows of the Gem, an urban, grimdark D&D5E campaign set in the classic world created by Gary Gygax so many years ago when I was just a little lad. And join us again next week, hopefully at 7 p.m. this time, for our very next episode of Princes of the Apocalypse. Thanks again for my players and for those of you out there, and we'll see you all again later. So,
Bye.
bye.
Ah.